Welcome to part 2. Before we begin, I want to address something. I got a very negative comment about Confused Matthew in my last video, and I just want to make this explicitly clear if it's not already. I really like Confused Matthew. I really like his reviews. I highly recommend his channel and especially his website. I've seen everything he's done on his website, and again, I encourage you guys to go check it out. Start with his review of Minority Report. If you've never seen this guy before, that is Confused Matthew at his very, very best. Now, what do I think is going on here? Do I think that Confused Matthew is just stupid? That he doesn't get the characters? That he's just not paying attention? No. I don't think he has a personality compatible with these characters. They don't make any sense to him. Therefore, this movie is nonsensical to him. And if you want to know what I mean by doesn't have a personality compatible with these characters, well, here's a random clip from Confused Matthew's favorite movie. A movie I couldn't sit through.
How wonderful life is, now you're in the world. Sat on the roof and I kicked off the moss. Well, some of these verses, well, they got me quite cross. But the sun's been kind while I wrote this song. It's for people like you that keep it turned on. So excuse me for getting, but these things I do, you see, I've forgotten if they're green or they're blue. Anyway, the thing is, what I really need.
And here's one from mine.
Happy birthday for ye, which man will not yield. Stand ye steady, if God not lead.
Now, before anyone thinks I'm oversimplifying, Confused Matthew doesn't even like war movies at all. Although the only review he's ever done of one that I know of is Gods and Generals, which just sucked balls. Yeah, and I love war movies, so. Moving on. Oh, and of course the title, Kill Matthew, I'm just riffing off of Kill Bill, and I was kind of 60-40 as to whether I should have gone with that at all. It did sound a little bit too hostile. I don't mean to be that hostile, I just thought it was a cute pun. Also, as for why I'm doing this as opposed to an actual movie review, well, movie reviews are really hard to do. I've never done one before, it seems expansive, and I will get to it. It's just, doing responses is so much easier than creating content of your own. This is just sort of my training before I start actually doing a movie review, and I thought I actually had something to say in response to Confused Matthew. So yeah, I probably won't do something like this ever again. Maybe, but probably not. This is just practice for me. So, I'm having fun though. I hope you're having fun. Let's continue on with the review.
Why are we spending so much godforsaken time on a character who isn't going to matter to the last 3/4 of these films? We're not going to get nearly this much backstory on this woman. We're not going to get nearly this much backstory on this guy, and both of them were targets that came after Lucy Liu in the pecking order. But with regard to a character that's just as unimportant as all the other targets leading up to Bill, oh, we'll spend a whole chapter talking about her character.
Well, in a sense, you're right. Lucy Liu's character is a hurdle for her to overcome, and for that reason, what she is a lot more important than who she is, the kind of person she is. And for that reason, a long and involved backstory explaining her rise to power and then eventual fall is a little bit more interesting and compelling. It kind of has the same effect the entire movie Taken had on me.
Let me get this straight. You killed off an entire Albanian crime syndicate, then you toppled an elite white slavery organization, and then, just to put a cherry on it, slaughtered a sheik whose family will, more than likely, claim a blood vendetta against you and your entire family?
And I shot my old friend's wife.
Speaking of wives, I am going to bang the hell out of your ex-wife when we get home.
In both movies, the characters are developed indirectly by showing us the pure, unadulterated amount of wreckage they leave behind. They wiped out an entire crime syndicate simply because it was in their way. Nothing can stop them.
Mada, inochi ga aru mono, sore wa motte kaeru ga ii! Tadashi, nakushita teashi wa oitette morau yo. Kore wa mou watashi no mo.
This is yet another problem with the structure of this film. First, Lucy Liu's backstory needed to be completely cut out of the film. And second, even if you didn't want to cut it out, if they were going to make this big a deal out of her, Lucy Liu should have been the second to last target before Thurman getting to Bill. That would have justified the obscene amount of time spent on her. And if I may just go back and fill in a few of the blanks, this is the problem with the story structure of the film. It's all completely imbalanced, but there is a way that they could have balanced it. Vivica A. Fox, for example, was the first person we saw killed, but we didn't learn enough about her until it was too late for us to care. And her situation was such that if it had come later, it could really have been compelling. Vivica A. Fox should have been the third person on Black Mamba's list. The first two should have been straight cold-hearted killers. Their downfall would have been challenging, but it would have been easy, because they both deserve it. They were both just as evil as they were when they screwed Thurman over. But when she tracks down the third, she finds a happy homemaker. That changes everything. Suddenly, it isn't so easy anymore. If Fox had been the third target, there could have been a build-up to what would have been an interesting moral question.
Wrong! I'm sorry, but you're picturing this character completely and utterly ass backwards. It is easy for her. She doesn't care about killing a homemaker. She doesn't care about killing a mother. She doesn't have mercy, compassion, or forgiveness.
It's mercy, compassion, and forgiveness I lack, not rationality.
The mistake you are making over and over again in this review is you are trying to put yourself in the position of the Black Mamba, trying to understand all of the fear and motivation and catharsis and inhibitions that you would feel into those circumstances. And that's wrong. That's wrong. You can't empathize with this creature on that basis. You have to understand from the get-go that this creature is alien to you to a large extent. And that's the purpose of Vivica A. Fox dying first. She walked right into a suburb that you or I would live in and whacked a mother in her goddamn kitchen. Did she lose any sleep over it? No. Does she care? No. You keep thinking there's supposed to be some kind of emotional draw on her. And what you're missing is the emotion that she's feeling is quite a bit like the emotion that Paul Allen is feeling in this scene.
I think they're undisputed masterpieces. Hip to be square.
Song's so catchy, most people probably don't listen to the lyrics. But they should, because it's not just about the pleasures of conformity and the importance of trends. It's also a personal statement about the band itself. Hey, Paul! Ah! Start getting a reservation at Dorking now, you fucking stupid bastard! Ah!
This is a film not about justice, but about revenge, and satiating that dark, dark part of our souls. Well, at least Kill Bill Volume 1. Moving on with the review, though, there's very little I want to talk about in Part 2 of your review. You mostly just leave markers for things you're going to talk about later, or things that you actually like about the movie. But then you say something that I'm sorry, I have to take issue with.
Which actually brings me to a secondary issue I have throughout this film. The Black Mamba came all the way to Okinawa, Japan, to track down a master sword crafter to make her the biggest, most man-splitting sword ever created. Why doesn't she just go get a gun?
Let's play a game. It's called Count the Number of Bullets You'll Need for This Scenario. Be sure to factor in the amount of misses you're likely to make, as well as the possibility of actually carrying this amount of munitions. Okay, in fairness, I do kind of get what you're saying. Why didn't she just get a sniper rifle and kill them from a distance, or just put a car bomb in their car, or whatever? Again, it's about satisfying her pure, naked hatred. It's about looking them in the eyes while she's killing them. It's about beating them at their own game. It's not just about whacking them, as I've explained before.
How could a half-breed Japanese-Chinese-American become the boss of all bosses in Tokyo, Japan?
I actually wasn't wondering. This has nothing to do with the film. Oh, but it seems that the answer is because that when the subject of her ancestry comes up, she overreacts in stupid and retarded ways. Okay.
Yeah, because racist, misogynistic, Japanese crime lords that kill people for a living are totally open and cheerful about the notion of a half-white, half-Chinese American national woman taking over their organization. They're totally cool with taking orders from that. And what's the appropriate response to some guy directly challenging you in the leadership council in public about this shit? You know, what's the appropriate response? You know, maybe Lucy Liu should have started crying. You know, let everyone know what a meanie head he is. And, you know, let him know that he's being insensitive and ask that he take some kind of sensitivity training course. You know, maybe ask for an affirmative action program in this criminal organization. You know, that'll totally work. You know, these racist, sexist, Japanese crime lords, they're totally cool with that. Because you know, these people that kill people for a living, yeah, they're just going to be totally open to whining and begging as a strategy. These people that live through and by fear and terror alone are just going to totally take pity on her and just side up to her and tell him he's a meanie head and tell him to get another job, maybe at a sushi bar or something. No! No, you idiot! She shows an ounce of weakness at any moment. They're gonna take her fucking head. That's why she took his. It was kill or be killed. He was betting she didn't have the balls to do that. And he bet wrong. He bet very fucking wrong.